Ashley, we are starting new year.
Yes.
So let us recap the last year, and I would like to ask you what were the highlights for you last year? What was the most interesting observation or something really what make your day?
So I would say, first of all, I'd like to say that last year was a pretty hard year for a lot of people, and so I think it's kind of difficult to think of highlights. I think we're so focused
That's
on
exactly why I
the
started.
negative things. I think we're used to focusing on the negative things and the things that are going wrong.
Yeah.
I will say, for me personally, what I have found to be really inspiring is both people's dedication to resistance and to truth and to not letting things like discrimination or hatred be the final word, but also just the amount of people who have gone through these really difficult times and are still here.
Yep.
And just the fact that even if the only thing that we have to say is that we made it. And I think there's something positive to be said about that. I think there's something to be taken from our internal strength and our strength of support for others.
Yeah,
what about you?
We made it better than anyone could expect. That would be my for me it was really that realization that yes, in this struggle with racism and xenophobia and all those kind of negative emotions, how powerfully we are equipped as people of faith with positive emotions and positive features in our lives and positive thoughts, and that they are definitely able to carry us through those difficult times. You know, creativity, playfulness, and really, you know, unbinding them. And for me, one of the highlights was really our participation in the Women's March.
Yes.
In Washington, and seeing all that creativity and playfulness, and at the same time determination. Before that was that kind of living almost like in a bunker, and suddenly we realized that there are so many like-minded people and aiming at that. So that was definitely for me those two kind of observations.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have any hopes going into this new year now that we're, day 4? I've been sick, so I have a hard time keeping track of time.
No. I hope that this will continue, that it'll take even deeper roots in our lives, and that all that grassrooting organizing and everything will hopefully in autumn bring some fruits. But what about you?
I have a pretty similar hope that I hope that all of the momentum that has been built up and that the energy that has been put forth does indeed bring political fruits, social fruits, all of that. I would also like to add that I hope that in this positive momentum that the cries of people who still feel left out are heard. I know, like, I went to the Women's March with you, and I know that was really positive for me, but I also know a lot of people who specifically didn't go because they didn't feel heard or represented, even as women. And I know that a lot of times when we're having conversations about things that are political, there's a lot of arguments about what role identity plays in that. And there are lots of people who I think identify more liberal or progressive who sort of despise the idea of identity politics and want us all to unite together, which is important, but also identity politics are not necessarily the reason that we're here, and I don't think it's helpful for folks of color or folks who are LGBTQ or folks of different religions that are not just Christian to sort of get asked to not voice their concerns, even from their own side, as a unity tactic. So I hope that we keep the positive momentum that we have And I hope that we make more room at the table in the movement for voices who have felt left out or who still feel marginalized, that they are able not just to participate but to lead as well.
Are there some misgivings or worries or missed opportunities or something like that in the last year for you?
The biggest misgiving that I've seen, or I don't even know if it's a misgiving so much as it is just like a general problem, are ideas around mental health.
Yeah.
I think that, I know that there are a lot of people out there who have a really hard time getting any kind of mental help that they might need. There are stigmas around it, particularly in certain aspects of the church. But things are really difficult, and everyone has a struggle. And whether you are someone who is of means or who's not of means, someone who is in the majority or the minority of a situation, things all around have been really difficult, and in a way that hasn't been, I think, in my lifetime that I can remember. And I've seen a lot of people burn out. I've seen a lot of people become depressed. I've seen a lot of people really stressed out. I know that I've dealt with some of those things myself, and I just really wish this country in general was better about mental health, but also that I wish that people had more opportunities to take care of themselves and each other in the ways that they really need, because with so much resistance and with so much to work against, and in trying to figure out what is truth, what is morality, and all of that, it's exhausting.
It's interesting that you are bringing it up, this whole theme. Yesterday I was going home with other clergy in our church, Laura, and just on a subway, meeting some homeless people there, and realizing also how often these people end up in jails and elsewhere, misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all, just labeled as weirdos or criminals and so on. It's really painful, and you are talking to a son of psychiatrist, so who grew up of seeing different attitude, European attitude towards mental illness, and not that it is ideal over there, but it's definitely much better than what I've seen so far in the United States. And that should be something, I think, down the road, or from now on, we should pay attention, being open to that and bring it to wider attention. And that is what is very biblical also when you think about it, because you have all those people with demons being healed, and that is the way in biblical tradition of talking about it. And it is mythopoetic way of talking about it, but clearly it is not being swept under rugs or anything. It is being lifted up and dealt faithfully and lovingly. And that is, for me, a very important dimension of that, that empathically trying to feel for those people and trying to help them. Not necessarily by these days casting out demons,
no.
Although there are times when you this kind of almost mythical images, unfortunately they are abused to the very opposite what is the intention of those biblical stories.
And even if you look at just like the language that people use today to talk about difficult times or somebody's struggles or mental health issues, they still call them demons. And like telling you have to face your demons, you struggle with demons and all of that. Like, it's not quite the same, but we still have that same mentality. And
I'll be fine if it did not mean demonization.
Yes.
Using religious or mythological language is fine as long as we understand that we are using it and for which purpose we are using it. Sometimes it can be helpful, even because you can realize that sometimes it is good to speak about evil as a personal evil, for instance, because it has many characteristics of being personal. So
it sounds a bit like another one of the things that you are hopeful for, or that you hope happens, is that people are able to talk about things and to get the help they need, particularly the most vulnerable, in a way that doesn't add to any kind of villainization or demonization negative stigma against it.
Taking that stigma out is, I think, that elemental basic step towards helping many people around in our society. The trouble there is, of course, that with an attack against healthcare, against just elemental healthcare, this is like an added layer. Of course, it should not be, but that's the reality.
It is.
Then you know how difficult it is to get mental health help. Just thinking about congregation and broader circles, and with undermining healthcare, I'm worried that it would become even harder.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a system. So not only does undermining healthcare hurt your bodily health, it hurts your mental health. And if you're someone who struggles with any kind of mental illness, and also if you're someone who might be homeless, or someone of color, or someone who's more prone to harassment or misunderstanding than the majority population, then you're more likely to end up in jail instead of getting help that you need. You're more likely to get tasered or killed. So this, I think this is one of those situations where it affects so many things down the line that it's not just like one justice issue, it's multiple.
Yeah. So that might be something we might be looking into going forward. Thank you very much, Dan, for sharing with me your highlights and your concerns from the last year and looking forward.
Thank you for sharing too. Here's hoping for a better 2018.
Yeah. Amen to that.